Did you hear that?
I did, sir.
Okay, bro, thanks for doing this. Is it okay if we use your story publicly?
Absolutely.
And will you spell your first name for me?
It's Tim, Tim. Pretty easy.
Perfect. That's for you, Cameron. Make you happy. Okay, identify however you want. I'm going to mute myself and the floor is yours.
Okay, so my name's Tim Lodgen. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and this is my story. I grew up in a pretty normal family. My mom actually was a professional bodybuilder. My father was a police officer. There was no drugs or alcohol in my home. I think I've seen my mom drink a beer maybe 5 times in my entire life. My father would have a drink every now and again at a family function or holiday. So it wasn't prevalent in my home. There was no alcohol in the refrigerator. There was nothing on the shelves, no drugs. And I played sports my entire life. I was on the baseball team for 8 years. I played football, and around middle school, I picked up skateboarding, and I grew to it really quickly and became really good. I was sponsored by Independent Trucks, Thrasher Magazine, a couple local skate places down here. And I grew up with Brandon Novak from Jackass, Bucky Lasik, and a local guy named Matt Martin down here. I got to skate with Rob Dyrdek a couple times. So I was up in my way coming and skateboarding. Um, uh, Around ninth grade, I started the box, and I picked up during the Olympics, the Golden Gloves, and still no alcohol, no drugs. I was like, I don't want any part of it. It's not for me. And ninth grade, there was a freshman party, like welcome to high school party. I go and I try beer for the very first time, and I got extremely sick. I remember the next day I had a hangover. I was throwing up, and my mom picked me up, and she was like, "You drank last night?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And her punishment was we were having a cookout. I had to shuck 50 ears of corn as my punishment for the guests to come. And she gave me a paper bag to throw up in and a paper bag to shuck the corn and get ready for the guests. I didn't touch alcohol again until my senior year. Now, my senior year, I had already signed up for the Marine Corps. So I knew as soon as I graduated, I was going to boot camp the week after I graduated. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let some steam go. I'm gonna go to some parties, start hanging out, and went to some parties, started drinking beer, started smoking pot, started doing LSD. LSD led to mushrooms, started smoking PCP. I never really got into cocaine or heroin because honestly, where I grew up, it wasn't around. But I'm sure if it was, I would have done it because I was willing to try anything. As soon as I got a couple beers in me, man, I was off to the races. If you had it, I was doing it, and I didn't care. I wanted to do it. And for me, I thought it was a phase because I was going in the Marines and I was just blowing off steam my senior year. Now I graduated high school and going to the Marines. The drugs stopped. I mean, obviously, I had to take piss tests. I had to do a bunch of different tests, but my alcoholism skyrocketed. That's all we did in the Marines. We would train hard, and as soon as we were done at 4 o'clock, we left the base. We went to the titty clubs, went to the bars, and we drank until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Come back on base, get up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, go running, throwing up, and as 18, 19, 20-year-old young men, we saw our sergeants out at these bars doing the same damn thing. And the only thing they said was, make sure you're up at 3 o'clock to go running. We don't care what you do. And it was kind of like a badge of honor. We're looking up to these guys in their 30s, and we're like, well, this is what we do. We train hard, we go out and we party hard, and it's a kind of a badge of honor. So that went on for my 3 years in the Marine Corps. I only did 3 years. I ended up breaking my ankle 3 times. And on the third time, they told me I could no longer do my MOS. I was infantry. So they gave me the option to have an honorable discharge and get out 1 year earlier. I was supposed to do 4 years. So I got out in the third year. When I got home, the first month was great. I was like, man, I'm out of the Marines. I can sleep in. I don't have to wear a certain uniform. I can eat what I want. Like, it was kind of really cool. The second month, I kind of got the oh shit factor. Man, I'm 20 years old. I got to get a job. I'm not in the military anymore. I got to get a vehicle. I got to get out of my mom's house. Like, and reality started to kick in. That third month of coming home, I found myself in an extremely deep depression. I had lost my identity. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going to go. And I found myself one day with my stepfather's gun in my lap. And I was contemplating using it because I was still drinking every day. That didn't stop just because I got out of the Marines. I was actually drinking more because now I was home. And luckily I had a girlfriend at the time. I called her and told her what I was doing. She came over and helped me put the gun up. And I told my mom I was extremely depressed. I did not tell her I had a gun in my lap because she would have had me committed at that point. But we got to the doctors. They started to evaluate me and diagnosed me with bipolar 1 disorder. So they started giving me all this medicine. Now, I never told him I was drinking every day. I never told him I was smoking pot again. I never told him I was doing shrooms or doing LSD or getting my hands on pain pills. I never told him any of that. So all the medicines that they were putting me on, they never fucking worked. Oh, that's not working. Let's up the dosage. Oh, they aren't working. Let's give you 2 or 3 of these. And that was a complete cycle from my early 20s all the way up until my age of 44 till I got to rehab. I was up and down medicines, never could find out what was going on. I never was completely honest with the doctors, telling them I have alcohol and drugs in my system. So what you're giving me is not going to work. So their only solution was, well, we've tried these 20. Let's try these different 20 meds and let's up the dosage. Let's add 3 at a time. Let's try 4 at a time. They never could figure out why nothing was working. And all this time, I would go in and out of manic modes, up and down in depression. My alcoholism skyrocketed. I was drinking 12 to 18 beers a day. In my 30s, I had lost a job again. I'm 46 now. I've had 44 jobs since being out of the Marine Corps at 20 years old. And it's all due to my bipolar, alcohol, and drug addiction. And to me, I thought that was just normal. You know, I'd go in, have a job for 3 to 6 months and be like, yeah, screw it. I don't feel like going anymore. I'll just go get another job. And that was a cycle for 20 plus years. And to me, I just thought that's just me. I get bored easily. I like to try something else. But it was all due to my drug addiction, alcoholism, and bipolar disorder, and not being properly treated and not being sober. So in my 30s, I had this grand idea. You know, I missed sports. I missed competing. So I had off. I didn't have a job. My wife was like, what are you going to do? I said, I want to do some MMA. I was like, you know, I boxed for 3 years. I was really good at that. I'm going to try it. And she's like, okay. She's like, take the next year off, do some training. And when we have enough money, we can support each other. So I started training MMA, got really good. I started fighting at casinos, Atlantic City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, fought on TV a couple times, but I started to break my body down. Because of the MMA, the training that I went through, I had 2 neck surgeries, 2 hernia operations. I had tore all the ligaments in my arms. I had to have major surgery in my arms. And the doctor started giving me pain medicine like they were fucking Tic Tacs. They didn't ask me, do you want to come off? They were just like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm still in pain. Okay, well, the 10s aren't working. Let's give you 20s. Oh, the 20 perks aren't working. Let's give you some oxycodones. Okay, well, oxycodones aren't working. Let's give you some Depakote, or let's give you some morphine pills. They never gave me an option of anything other than give me more pills or up the dosage. So for 4 years, I was taking pain medicine like they were Tic Tacs and drinking on top of it and smoking pot. And it got to the point where I actually got scared. I was like, man, this is how people die. I'm taking 10, 15, 20 milligram Percocets a day, and I'm drinking 12 beers a day. I'm going to fucking die in my sleep. Like I got scared. And my brilliant addiction mind told me, well, if you're going to die, you might as well do it by your own hands. So I went in my bedroom one day and I opened up my pill bottle, and I remember counting them. I had 18 Percocets in there. I took all 18 of them. I drank a 12-pack of beer and I laid in the bed and I said, please don't let me wake up because I can't stop taking these pills and I can't stop drinking. I woke up the next morning. I still don't know why. I'm starting to figure it out now, but at that time I was like, I had no idea why I woke up, but it scared me so much that I went into the bathroom. I had another refill bottle. I took all 30 of them and I dumped them down the toilet. And I remember looking in the mirror and telling myself, I don't care how bad this gets, we're never doing pain medicine again. And for the next 10 days, I was so sick, probably the sickest I've ever been in my life. Insomnia, sweating, throwing up, going to the bathroom, nausea, I couldn't eat. And I remember just looking at myself in the mirror every single day saying, Tim, I don't want to do this anymore. Look at yourself. Don't do this anymore. That was the last time I've taken any pain medicine. It's been almost 8 years. I did that on my own, but my addiction took off with the alcohol because now I'm missing something. I didn't have that pain medicine in my body. So now I want that same high. I want that same feeling that the pain medicine, the pot, and the alcohol gave to me. So I started drinking whiskey because I was like, well, this beer's not doing it. I need that instant, I want that hot, that warm blanket feeling that came over my body when I took that Percocet, when I took that opioid. So I switched to Fireball whiskey. And I remember I couldn't stop drinking. And I was like, I'm going for a ride. And I got in my truck. And we have this beautiful reservoir down here, and people go fishing and hiking and walk their dogs. And I get in my truck and I'm driving through the reservoir, and I'm crying and I'm banging on the roof of my truck, and I'm hitting my steering wheel, and I'm like, why can't I stop? Why am I an addict? Why have I put everybody that I love through all this problems? Why have I lost all these jobs? Why can't I get my medicines together? And I get around to the bend where there's this tree, and my senior year of high school, my best friend lost control of his car and hit the tree and lost his life at the age of 18. So they have this little memorial at the tree. So I stop at the tree and I'm like, Bill, man, I can't get my life together. I stopped taking pain medicine, but my alcoholism is skyrocketed through the roof more than it's ever had in my life. I just need to know I'm not alone. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything. I was lost. And I was like, just please send me a sign that I'm not alone and I have a purpose in life. And I get back in my truck and I go to leave the park. And instead of parking on the right-hand side where I'm driving out, I pull over on the left-hand side on oncoming traffic, and I sit there and I'm crying. And about 10 minutes go by and this car pulls up. And I'm watching the man get out. He's getting his dog and he's about to go over to where the water is. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, holy shit. And I get out of my truck and I'm like, Mr. Bill, it was my best friend who passed away. It was his father, whom I hadn't seen since 1996, the day of my best friend's funeral. And I said, what are you doing here? And he said, Timmy, what's wrong? And I'm crying and I fall to the curb. I'm like, I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. I can't get my life together. And he walks over to me and he puts his hand on my shoulder. And he says, Timmy, I'm not even supposed to be here this morning. I'm supposed to be in South Carolina on a family vacation. My wife came to me in a dream last night and told me to come walk the dog at 10 a.m. this morning. And I just looked at him and we hugged and he told me everything was going to be okay. I get back in my truck. My addictive personality then tells me I'm going to be okay. I'm being watched. Nothing is going to happen to me now. So for the next 4 years, I drank the most alcohol that I've ever drank in my entire life, because now my brain tells me I'm being watched and nothing is going to happen to me. So for the next 4 years, I drank whiskey every single day. And I told myself not to buy the big bottles, because then I would know exactly how much I was drinking. So buy the miniatures. So I'd buy a sleeve, which is 10 miniatures. And I'd finish that before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I'd get back in my truck and go get another 10. At the end of that 4-year run, I was drinking 25 to 30 miniatures a day. And one day I took it out and I measured what a miniature was. It's 2.5 shots. So 2.5 times 25 to 30, I was drinking upwards of 60 to 70 shots of Fireball whiskey every single day. And I had a brand new truck, and I'm leaving the liquor store and I hit something. I still do not know what I hit. I have no idea. But I get home and I park my truck and I go in the house. I'm like, I hit something. I'm going to bed. And true alcoholic fashion, I wake up the next morning. I'm like, good morning. I'm going to go to the store and get some water and some milk. And my wife's like, how are you going to do that? I'm like, in my brand new truck in the driveway. She's like, go look at your truck. So I go outside, the passenger tires hanging off the rim, side mirrors completely gone. And she looks out the door and she goes, you have no idea what you hit last night, do you? I said, no, I don't. She said, Tim, you could have killed somebody. You could have killed yourself. You got to go. You can't stay here anymore. You got to go figure this out, because I can't take it anymore. So I called AAA to come over to put my spare tire on. I called my buddy. I'm like, hey, man, my wife just kicked me out of the house. I need a place to stay for a couple of days, because, things need to blow over, but in a couple of days, she'll let me back in, So I go to his house, and his bright idea was, well, man, you got kicked out. Might as well go to the bar and drink and have a good time, because you can't go home. I'm like, you know what, man, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go do that. So we get to the bar, we drink, do some shots, eat some food. And as I'm leaving the bar the very next day, I rear end somebody at the fucking red light. And I get out and I'm looking at his truck, and luckily he had one of those tow hitches on. So his truck wasn't damaged. The front of my bumper was V'd in, it was smashed in. And I get out, I'm like, are you okay, man? He's like, yeah, I'm okay. I said, your truck's okay, you're okay. I'm out. I smacked him on his back. I got my truck and I took off. But I knew I was going to go to jail. I was drunk. Get back to my buddy's house and I'm like, man, I can't stay here. I got to go figure this shit out, man. So I leave his house, stop at the liquor store, get myself 10 more miniatures, and I go sit in a park and ride. And I turn off my phone. 48 hours. Turn it off completely. I don't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to hear nobody. I just wanted to wallow in my sorrows and play the blame game and beat myself up and listen to sad ass music and drink. So for 48 hours, I drank and passed out and drank and passed out. On Friday, March 5th, 2021, I turned my phone on at 7 after 10 in the morning. At 9 after 10, 2 minutes after having my phone off for 48 hours, my childhood friend, Brandon Novak, is on the other line. And he's like, Lodging, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'm in my truck, man. I'm cold, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm drunk. And he says, good, motherfucker, that's what you need. I just got off the phone with your wife and your mom. I have a plane ticket ready for you this evening at 8 o'clock. You're going to go down to Banyan Treatment Centers in West Palm Beach, Florida, and you're going to go get help. And I'm like, man, I don't know. He said, Tim, I promise you, everything that you've lost, you'll get back 10 times fold. Just get on that plane. I love you. Please get on the plane. And he hangs up. And I'm sitting there in the truck. 15 minutes goes by. My wife calls. She's like, hey, I just got off the phone with Brandon. Can you please come home, take a shower, pack your bags, try to eat something and take a little nap, because I had about 4 or 5 hours before the plane took off. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So I get home, I shower. I couldn't eat, man. I was having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. Now I got to go to fucking rehab in Florida, and my mind's racing. And I sit on the edge of my bed, and my addiction takes my hand and walks me to the basement of my home and throws a rope around my neck and stands me on a bucket and tells me to end all the pain. And about 3 minutes go by, and my wife realizes I'm out in my bed. And she comes down the steps in the basement and sees me in the corner of the basement, standing on a bucket with a rope around my neck, hysterically crying. And she says, "Well, what are you doing?" And I said, I can't do it. I just want the pain to stop. And she says, "Tim, do you know what this would do to your children? Please get down, go get help. Everything is going to be okay. Just please get down." So I get down and I fall to the floor and I'm crying for about 10 minutes. And I get up and I go upstairs and I call Brandon. I'm like, "Hey, man, I got to go." I said, "If I don't go, this disease is going to kill me. And I can't, I got to go. I need help." And all he says is, "I'm proud of you. I love you. Call me when you pass security, because I don't want you to get to the airport and catch a cab and take off. I want to make sure you're getting on the plane." So my mom drives me to the airport. I get to the airport, get past security. I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm here." And he says, all he says is, "I'm proud of you. I love you." And he hangs up the phone. As I go to sit in the seat, waiting for them to call to board the plane, as I sit down, I get this overwhelming feeling of hope that comes over my entire body. It was the most amazing feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. It went through my whole body, all my doubt, worry, panic, anxiety, everything went away. And something in my head said, everything's going to be all right. I'll never forget that feeling for the rest of my life. Something happened to me in that airport. And for me not to acknowledge that at that time in my life, what a damn shame. What a damn shame. I got to rehab. I didn't miss any classes. I did all the homework that they asked me to do. I went to extra meetings for military and first responders. I spoke. I shared my story. I went addictive mode into recovery. 100%, both feet in, because I knew at this point in my life, I had no more options. Because if you give me an option, I'm taking the last option. I'm not going to take the option that's going to save my life. So for me in rehab, I made the choice that my only option now is to live my life, is to be grateful for everything that I've been given. I did 32 days in treatment. I came home. I did 98 meetings in 90 days, not 90. I spoke. I got a sponsor. And I got back into the gym. I changed my diet. I started reading daily like reflections just on how to look at the world differently. My perception on everything completely changed. I stopped looking at, man, I got to go to work. I got to go to the gym. I got to do this too. I get to go to the gym. I get to go to work. I get to put food on my table to take care of my children. I changed my perspective, which changed my outcome of my life. Today, I go to 3 meetings a week still. I stay connected with my sobriety and my recovery. I stay grounded. I read every day something about recovery. I exercise 6 days out of the week. I completely changed my diet to, I don't eat anything processed. I eat all good food. I don't drink my calories. I try not to, like we were taught, I try not to have sugar as much. I do have a little bit, but I really want to do this